Hello and welcome to my music tribute playthrough to Control. I don't actually know how long this music actually goes for until it either loops or stops. The stream's been going for 16 minutes now. So unless the title screen music can go on for like an hour, I may be cutting it off before it looped. Um, but it's hard to do a very, very comprehensive music tribute playthrough when there could be so many different variations of the music and all that kind of stuff. So there might be some music that I might miss as well. And you can't always rely on just looking at the soundtrack and going, oh, these are the tracks and that's the order. Because when they actually put them into the game, they don't necessarily put them in the same order that you would see them on the soundtrack as well. And so, as a result of that, there might be some pieces of music that I don't cover, or there might be a certain length of music that there's a tiny little difference that makes it hard to know if it's looped or not. And sometimes when you get music that's a sort of like droning kind of music, it can be kind of hard to figure out where it might be different or similar or whatnot as well. Um, so I thought I would give it a bit of time before I started talking over the music. But before I actually get into details about what I want to do with this playthrough, I want to catch up on chat properly. Hey there, Octavius. Welcome. I hope things are going well. As for me, Octavius, I'm going good. I finished Alan Wake earlier doing a music tribute, and this game has the same composer, Petria Lenko, so I wanted to do a music tribute for this game too. Good morning to you, Cody. Welcome on in, dude. Biko, the new Control game looks even more phenomenal than this one. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it was wise as well to have us play as Dylan Faden this time around, because that can mean a whole fresh perspective, and it matches the whole difference in the gameplay as well. Hello there, Ogorki. Welcome. Glad to hear that things are going good. Thank you very much, Ogorki, as well, for the 45 stream streak. That is excellent. Thank you very much for that. Octavius, yeah, by the way, on PS5, the more games you buy, the less discount you get. New company policy? What the hell? Come on, PlayStation, what are you doing? Jeez. Becoming PayStation. So to give a little bit more detail about this playthrough, usually I do a music tribute playthrough when a game celebrates its 10th or 15th or 20th or every 5 years after. But I wanted to make an exception with this game. This game doesn't actually celebrate its 10th anniversary until 2029, and I don't even know if I'm going to be streaming in 2029, so I'm going to take the opportunity this year with the sequel coming out to actually do this music tribute playthrough so that if I don't stream, if I'm not a streamer in 2029, then at least I know I've already covered this game. So that's my usual thing. I don't do celebrations of games for their 5th anniversary, mainly because to me, 5 years, while it is a milestone, it's not really that long. So I like to wait until a game is celebrating its 10th anniversary because then that to me feels like there's a big gap of time since when it came out. Because so much can happen in that amount of time. Like you look at this game versus Alan Wake from 2010. You look at Red Dead Redemption from 2010 and Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, and that's 8 years, for that game. And you look at the leaps and bounds and changes and differences that have actually happened in that amount of time. Sure, a lot can happen in 5 years, but a fucking lot can happen in 10 years. So that's why I usually wait until a game celebrates its 10th anniversary at least before I start doing anniversaries. After that point, every 5 years after, I feel is good because it still keeps the oomph 15 years, 20 years, you know. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm doing a music tribute playthrough for this game, even though we're 2 years away from its, well, 3 years away, sorry, from its 10th anniversary. Octavius, I hope you will. You believe us millennials will be gaming until we die. It's like, and that's the game. But yeah, Octavius, you never know. I always like to look at each stream year as it comes along and sort of, think about what I want to do and what I want to accomplish and all that kind of stuff. And this year I've really wanted to get some first playthroughs done, and also I want to try and get um, a lot of thematically um, like related playthroughs of games as well. And I've been doing that a lot already, like where it's like it's not just a challenge rule, it's also a what if I make it that the character has to wear this while doing this, that kind of stuff as well. Or when they're in this situation, they can only use these weapons, but when they're in this other situation, they can use other weapons, you know. So I wanted to do a lot of that this year as well. So for this playthrough, the music is the only volume that is on. Having said that, though, not every single game strictly puts all the music just on the music track. Sometimes they put music on the sound effects track, and sometimes they put music on the dialogue track. Sometimes they put dialogue on the soundtrack, and sometimes they put sound effects on the music track. So when it comes to this particular game, there's going to be some music that is probably going to be tied to the sound effects volume, especially if it's music that we and the character hears, which I think is called diegetic music, whereas music that only we hear is usually tied to the music track as well. So with the dialogue muted and the sound effects muted, it means it's just the music. I'll be doing the main game and the AWE DLC and the Foundation DLC as well. And so the music was composed by Petri Alenko and Martin Stig Andersen. So I've got some links there to Petri and Martin's official websites. And then you've got Poets of the Fall as the Old Gods of Asgard, and that's their official site as well. So I'm going to jump in now to the next menu. There might be different music in the next menu, but I just wanted to do my intro still. But now I'm going to get into it proper. Octavius. Here you have a great day with around 18 Celsius, sunny day, and you're doing chores. Well, Octavius, hopefully once they're done, you'll be able to have an enjoying day or enjoy the rest of the day as well and make the most of what you have left. Because one of the things you loved about the new control is that the character isn't far left, nearly off the screen. They've placed him in the center, which is odd because normally shooters have that free zone to shoot, having characters to the left. That's actually something, Biko, I didn't really notice, to be honest. But with the sequel, and there's probably going to be some moves that Dylan can do where he does shoot projectiles and stuff. But the gameplay, from what I can see, primarily is going to be melee-based combat. So get in there and use your attacks and your parries and blocking and all that kind of stuff. Um, so with his approach, it's going to be a bit more sort of like get into the enemy's face kind of thing. I mean, in this game, you can punch enemies. Well, not necessarily punch fist to flesh or whatnot, but Jessie can use her powers to do a bit of oomph against the enemy. Cody, you're on the final leg of Requiem. Very nice, Cody. That's good progress as well. I hope that you've been enjoying the game. Hey there, Keone. Thank you very much for the welcome back. Appreciate it. Welcome back to you as well to another stream. It's also a good opportunity with this type of playthrough because I like to slow things down with the character movement and also use the game's camera to look at environments and stuff. It's also a good opportunity when there's music just playing on its own to kind of take in some of the details, and there can be so much that you might miss. Like if you have Jessie going at full speed, a lot of stuff whizzes by, so having her walk and also having the camera slowly move and look at things like that. I really like to do that. So I'll take the opportunity when I can to cover the music in that way as well, instead of just having the camera be on the one position the whole time as well. Sometimes I'll do that, especially if I can remember that there's something that triggers something different and I don't want the music to stop yet, or I don't want to interrupt it yet as well. So sometimes I'll have the character just stand back just in case. Oh, nice, Cody. I'm glad to hear that you're loving it. That's awesome. It's very tricky too, with how many games in the series there are now. And there's not just the numbered entries, of course. Even before we got to Resident Evil 9, there was like, what, 15, 20 different games already, let alone all the different versions and all that kind of stuff. I've played this game a few times now, and it's so weird when you've played a game so many times and then you do a music only playthrough, and then you have like a lot of characters and dialogue and stuff that, of course, isn't being heard. But it kind of attunes your ears to the music a bit more, and there might be some tiny bits of instrumentation in the music that gets covered over by the sound effects or the dialogue. And so being able to actually hear every single little detail in the music without it being covered over, even if it's like a small, slight difference, that's one of the things I like about doing these playthroughs. Lucinda, thank you very, very much for the 55 months of subscribing in a row. Thank you very, very much for that. How's your morning going? How's your adjusting to the daylight savings time going? Good morning. I'm going well, thank you, Lucinda. Things are good. I finished off my Alan Wake playthrough. It was good to do the music tribute, and instead of waiting for 2029 to roll around to do a music tribute for this game for its 10th anniversary, I thought since the sequel's coming out this year that I would do a music tribute for this game this year instead. um, Plus, also, one of the main composers of Alan Wake is also one of the main composers for Control. So I thought doing Alan Wake first with the music tribute would be good, and then follow it up with this game and do a music tribute as well. As you can see, we're very, very early. We just got the service weapon. Listen, they're still sleepy, but it's all good. You plan on making a concerted effort to focus on hydrating and going to bed early tonight. You've been going hard and partying hardy. You treated last week as a vacation, so you took a temporary break from your drinking rules. That's good because then you can have a bit of a, hair letdown in a way. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but it's good that you're able to do that, and also know that you can do that and then go back to that when you need to as well. But that's definitely fair enough too, to keep on hydrating and going to bed early. I mean, you know, I can talk going to bed early. I mean, it is early when I do, but it's not because I've, gone to sleep early and then woken up early. It's more that I've gone to sleep early in the day, early morning. Lucinda, yeah, you're ready for the recovery now, so this week you'll be catching up on the taking care of yourself. I mean, that's good too, as well, for sure, and bounce back a bit and sort of get back into a bit of a routine as well. It was funny with the title screen music. I wasn't sure how long it would go for, and I kind of didn't know or remember what the starting piece of music was to know if it had actually looped or not. So I erred on the side of caution and just waited a while. And I looked at the time for the stream and it was 16 minutes into the stream. And I'm like, well, I've given it like 12 to 14 minutes worth of time. I think maybe it's looped. Maybe. Maybe there's like, half an hour worth of music before it stops or loops as well. But I sort of took that as an opportunity to be like, right, okay, I need to actually do my intro stuff now. So here we are, almost an hour into the stream, and Jesse just got the service weapon. Lucinda Law, you were trying to think about how long a track might be on an actual soundtrack. Doubt there'd be a 15-minute track at all. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is too, like, you can look at the soundtrack listing, the order that they put the soundtrack listing, doesn't mean that that's like the order it goes in the game as well. And that can be tricky too because then there's also elements that get chopped and changed. Like you might have a 6 minute music track on the soundtrack, but in the game it might be split and put in different parts as well. Exactly, Lucinda. Yeah, a section can involve one track after another. It really can, and segues. It definitely makes it easier if there's like a definitive stop in the music before it loops. But sometimes it can be tricky because I've had games where the music has looped 3 times, but then on the fourth time it's different. Where it's like, oh shit. I just want to check something for a moment. Turn to the last checkpoint. Hello there, Dumbledore. How's things? Okay, so the reason why I wanted to reload a checkpoint is because when I did the melee attack on that enemy, the music stopped before I feel like it looped. And so I want to try again, but this time dodge the enemy long enough to see how long that piece of music actually goes for before it either loops or stops. The tricky thing about doing this with games is that not every single game is the same in how it deals with music changes and stuff like that. Sometimes it'll be, I guess, based on where you put the character. So once the character reaches a certain point in the map, that might be when music changes to something else. So you might still be able to defeat all the enemies in a zone, for example, and the music that's playing might still play for a little bit longer until you reach a certain point. And they sort of become like challenge runs in a little bit of a way, because if a piece of music is, let's say, 2 minutes long, a combat piece of music, well, if you die, that obviously interrupts the flow of the music. If you get hit enough and are near death, sometimes games will change the music based on how much health you have left. So that 2 minutes worth of music, you have to keep on dodging enemies and making sure you don't die and making sure you don't get hit too many times and making sure you don't go too far ahead, otherwise it'll interrupt the music before the full 2 minutes of it has actually happened. So we're going to do that next section again, but this time I'm not going to attack the enemy straight away, just going to hang back and dodge and run around and wait and see how long the piece of music is. So notice just as I pressed the button to do the attack, the music started to change into something different, but then stopped. But we'll see if that particular combat music that we heard actually repeats at other points, because then if there's multiple enemies and we deal with one, then that change in the music may follow through as long as there's other enemies still around. Hello there, Anna Moon. Welcome. How's things going? I don't know the name of the song, but there's a song that has the lyrics that go, Jesse's got a gun. So I like that little nod there to that song when Jesse says, I've got a gun. Oh, nice, Anna Moon. Glad to hear that it's going well. Lucinda, Aerosmith did a song called Janie's Got a Gun. You know what? It might be the Mandela effect happening with my memory. Because maybe that is what the song is, and there's no song called Jesse's Got a Gun. I mean, there's a song by Dolores from 2021 that's from the album Jesse's Got a Gun. Listen, do you think it is lol? Well, there you go. But yeah, this game came out in 2019, so that whole Jesse's Got a Gun album coming out in 2021, it's like a retroactive, unintended kind of like reference. I like that. I really like how the music changes when you hit enemies. It's really good. It's amazing what can be done with video game music when you look back at the early days of music in video games. Being able to layer in so many changes based on what's actually happening, where before you couldn't really do that kind of thing where you would have the character moving and then there'd be music playing, and then if you had the character run it would shift to a different piece, but then if you stopped it would go back, and then if you got hit by an enemy it would change to a different thing, and then if you shot back, all that sort of stuff. But as time went on they were able to do more and more stuff like that as well. And so it's always interesting to think about what advancements they probably already have done, um, you know, for games that we haven't actually experienced yet, and also for the future as well, what kind of things that they might be able to do. I will also cover the death music that happens as well. And I'll do that soon because I'd rather have that happen earlier because you do actually lose resources that go towards stuff if you die. So I want to make sure I'm covering the death music as early as possible. Lucinda, okay, Rod, it's time for you to head off to work. Hope you have a great rest of your stream. Thank you very much, Lucinda. I definitely will. I hope that work goes well. Would like to highly recommend people check out Lucinda's channel. Been doing a playthrough of Resident Evil Requiem. Has finished the game at least once so far, and is working on a second playthrough. Also a big fan of the other games in the series. Also a big fan of other zombie franchises like Dying Light and Dead Island. Also a fan of stealth games like the Dishonored series. Also enjoys games like Bioshock as well as the Last of Us games. Really cool streamer. Also has some really cool raccoon themed emotes as well. Animated ones and static ones. That's no worries at all for the shout out, Lucinda. I hope that your day goes well. Hopefully work will go quick as well. I'll go to the main menu and then go to continue, and then I'll die on purpose to get the music that happens when you die. I'm not going to get through this whole game without dying at all, so um, there will be other opportunities where the music actually happens, but I'd rather willfully die this early in the game to make sure I'm not losing resources that later in the game, if I did it on purpose, I'd be stupid to do it on purpose to lose. Alright, so there was a new checkpoint made after that skirmish, but that's okay. We'll get the death music on the next encounter. Just testing to see if these have any music. Well, I've got this up as well. It's really cool that Matthew Peretta is in this game as Dr. Darling, and he voices Alan Wake. So if you've only played Alan Wake and you've only actually heard what Alan sounds like and you don't know what the actual actor who voices him sounds like, well, this is the actor who voices Alan Wake. The first thing I saw him in was actually the parody movie Robin Hood Men in Tights. I can't remember when that movie came out, but it was the early 90s, and I probably would have been around 9, 10 years old at the time. But yeah, he played the character of Will Scarlet in that movie. So years and years later, when I became a fan of Alan Wake and I was curious as to who played Alan, and then I looked at his IMDb, I was like, holy shit. It's a great example of how you can revisit something later and then you recognize things that you didn't before simply because they didn't stand out in a way that made you know exactly what it was and kept memory of it for years and years and years until something else triggers it. And then you're like, holy shit. Alright, so I'm going to die on purpose to get any music that might play when you die. Sorry, Jesse. There we go. Dumbledore, you love the music. It is really, really cool. I love the changes depending on what you're doing in combat as well, which can also trigger combinations of stuff because if you do a combo of a shot with a service weapon and then a melee attack, and then chain that with doing another shot on a different enemy. I can't wait until I get to the point in the game where we start to get some of the powers and how that might affect the music during combat and all that kind of stuff as well. Hey there, Adrian. That Marvel show Loki had a pretty similar organization, the Time Variance Authority, though you think the world building and control is more logical and with less head scratches. The thing that I really liked about this game, having played Alan Wake, was that it gives scientific names and also explanations to the phenomena that is in Alan Wake. You know, I think that was very, very clever to do that because what it does is for fans of Alan Wake who hadn't played this yet, when they do play it, there can be so much stuff where you go, ah, so yeah, that was a altered world event that happened at Cauldron Lake, you know. So I really liked how they did that. But it's interesting when you have organizations like that who have worked in the shadows and their work goes unnoticed, but then someone notices, and that might be the basis for a story where that character gets recruited by them, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and finds out the ins and outs. But it's interesting the way that you become director is that they don't vote for you to become the director. Basically, you fire the service weapon at your head, and if you are chosen to be the director, then you won't die. But if you're not chosen to be the director, then sorry, you're dead. You know. So becoming the director of the FBC is an interesting kind of election process. But the service weapon itself, being able to actually change forms for Jesse and for um, director Trench, and I don't know how many other directors before him, it goes back to that the service weapon was a gun, you know. But in ancient times, it could have been a sword, it could have been an axe, it could have been, you know, anything like that too, as well. So I find that interesting that it's able to shift forms. So potentially you could also do a game set in this universe that takes place way, way, way in the past as well, which would then allow you so many different opportunities for different kinds of genres of games to be done. And that's the other beautiful thing about the Remedyverse is you can do a first-person shooter game, you can do a point-and-click adventure game, you can do a side-scrolling beat 'em up, you could do a, you know, all these different things, and that can also lead to new IPs being created as well. Hello there, Max. Welcome, dude. How's your day going so far? I only just noticed too when you pause that there's a fade out on the music. It doesn't just abruptly stop. Or at least for that particular piece of music. That's pretty cool. Oh, nice, Max. That's good to hear. So far, so good. Awesome. Mine's been really good. I finished off my Alan Wake music tribute playthrough. And because this game doesn't celebrate its 10th anniversary until 2029, I don't know if I'll still be streaming in that year. So I figured since the sequel is coming out this year, I may as well do a music tribute playthrough for that reason instead of the 10th anniversary. But hey, if I'm still streaming in 2029, maybe I'll be able to do another version of this, but a bit more precise. But going well. It was good to do a music-only playthrough of Alan Wake. I've been waiting for a long time to actually do it. I missed out doing it in 2010. Sorry, in 2020 when it celebrated its 10th anniversary. So I thought, right, when it celebrates its 15th, I'm going to make sure that I actually do that as one of the playthroughs. I still need to do another one for its 15th anniversary, um, but I've got until before it celebrates its 16th anniversary, which happens on the 14th of May this year. Yeah, Double Door, there's Control Resonant is the sequel that's coming out this year. This one came out in 2019, and they announced it, I think it was 2022 or something, maybe. I might be wrong there, but it's been in development for a little bit now. Max, it was cool. Alan Wake music was cinematic. It really was, yeah, and very a lot of like atmospheric stuff that worked out well when you're just, exploring and in the woods. And then you had the intensity of the music when the Taken would appear and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's an acquired taste, of course. Like, I don't expect many people to just load up their game and turn the sound effects and dialogue off and do a whole playthrough with with just the music on as well. Um, but I've done it with a few games now, and each game's different because you have to sort of like get used to how the programming deals with certain pieces of music too, as well. Figuring out, okay, what are the things that will actually interrupt the music before it loops? What are things that, if you do it too quickly, will change the music? What happens if you die? What happens if the enemy um, is almost dead? Is there going to be a music change? You know, and so sometimes there's a bit of just stand back and wait and listen out and hear and try and figure out. But then there's situations in games where obviously if you don't keep moving, then you'll die. So in those situations, like in an Assassin's Creed game where you have to keep running, like Assassin's Creed Revelations, I did a music only playthrough for that, and in the tombs when you have a lot of chase sequences, you can't just afford to stand around because you'll get desynchronized. So doing music only and having a sequence where you have to keep on moving and all that, that can add extra intensity by just hearing the music. Because without all the sound effects, you're really, really hearing just the music and any small bits of instrumentation that get covered up by sound effect or dialogue that are very subtle. Like there might be a little bit in the music that goes, but with sound effects over the top of it, you don't hear that. So taking the sound effects off means you get to hear those little tiny bits of instrumentation as well, which overall can create a different bit of a feel as well, because then there might be some stuff you recognize that you didn't before as well. Oh, very nice, Dumbledore. You've reached 400,000 channel points. Holy shit. That's awesome. I really need to think about some channel point redeems that are high points as well. It's been a while since I did one of those community challenge things where you contribute a certain amount of channel points, and whatever the goal is, once the channel points target is reached for that, then it gets done, whatever it might be. It's been a long time since I did one of those. I'll have to think of some things um, that I can set up as one of those. Hey there, Inmita. Thank you very much for the lurking, dude. Really appreciate it. You've been lurking for a while, but you've been busy with work. That's totally fair, dude. I hope it hasn't been hectic, annoying, frustrating, busy. I am doing well, thank you, Inmita. Yeah, it was good to finish my Alan Wake music tribute playthrough earlier. I also included doing the two extra episodes, The Signal and The Rider, as well. Some of the music was the same. There was also some different ones as well. And the coconut song that you hear on the jukebox in the main game, there's a distorted, really, really weird version of it in one of the DLC episodes. And so listening to that was quite interesting without sound effects and stuff on it. It ended up getting into a part towards the end where it was like a heavy metal head banging rhythm and beat kind of thing. But yeah, I'm doing well, thanks, Inmita. I hope you're doing well too. Would like to definitely recommend people check out Amita's channel. Been doing some Elder Scrolls Online, also doing a playthrough of Horizon Forbidden West as well. Most recently also finished Tomb Raider Legend. Played that game for the first time. Hey there, Senny. Welcome on in, dude. Thank you very much, Crooked, for the lurking that you've been doing. Really appreciate that. How's things going? How's your day going? Controller's going really well. Because I don't know if I'll still be streaming in 2029, because that's a long way away. This game's 10th anniversary would be then. But I thought I would instead do it this year, considering the sequel's coming out. So here we are. Music tribute for Control. Actually, I think it's the first time I've done a music tribute playthrough outside of it being for a game's anniversary. Come to think of it. Would also like to definitely recommend people check out Crocodile's channel. He's doing a playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered. He's also a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. He's doing a historical order run that involves heaps of different games that are all set in different time periods, and he's been doing them in timeline order. And he's also played through games like Alan Wake, as well as Control also. A great streamer too, so definitely recommend. Amita, good to hear you're doing well. Thanks for the shout out. Glad to hear that you're going good. Amita, that's really good. No problem at all for the shout out. Crooked, honestly, you're pretty knackered. Last week has been very busy. Then busy weekend and off to a busy week again, lol. You hope to rest and unwind a bit on the coming weekend finally. That definitely sounds very, very hectic as well, Crooked. Yeah, I don't blame you for really wanting to rest and unwind as well. Hopefully things will go quickly and they won't drag on. And that's no problem at all for the shout out either, dude. No worries at all. One of the things that I've liked about this game with the music is how it changes based on your attacks against the enemy as well, and the timing. So in a way, you can sort of like orchestrate your own timing of the pieces, shoot an enemy and then instantly shoot another one or the same one, or wait a couple of seconds and then do another shot, you know. So that's really cool when they do that kind of stuff. Dead letters for me. Ah, the nostalgia department. Remember that fondly. Hello there, Dex. Road Legion in the building. I absolutely am. Specifically, the oldest house. The shapeshifting building. It's going well, thank you, Dex. Things are good. How about yourself? How's your day going today? Oh, excellent, dude. That's really good. Week is off to a great start thus far. Awesome. Hopefully it continues and ends up being a great week. I finished off Alan Wake earlier, the music tribute playthrough I was doing, and because this game doesn't celebrate its 10th anniversary until 2029, I thought I would do this type of playthrough because the sequel's coming out this year. Last week kicked your little booty, but you're ready to flip the script this week. That's definitely the attitude to have as well. You know, it's a shame when there's a week where you just keep on getting beaten down, and it's good when you get that week over and done with, and you just hope that the next one is going to be at least, a bit fairer than the other one. I'm going to cover music that you can find in the game on radios and stuff. I don't know in this game if it's the case, but in Alan Wake 1, for example, the audio that you hear on the radio of the dialogue, if you have just the music on, obviously you don't hear the dialogue, but there would be music after the dialogue that was tied to the music track. But in some games, they put music that you might hear on the radio on the sound effects volume instead. So what I'm going to do is interact with this with just the music track on, and if there's nothing that comes out of it, then I know I need to put the sound effects on instead.
She came from across the sea, like a bolt of lightning. Head on top of the mountain, hands above the She lit the blinded eye, burned into my retinas. Get up top of the mountain, hands above the I'll always know what's in your eyes, unchanged by what they see. If only I could fall inside the world you offer me. She whistles through the breeze, devouring the devoted. Get on top of the mountain, hands above the always know what's in your eyes, unchanged by what they see. If only I could fall inside the world you offer me. She came from across the sea.
I was like, Is that supposed to happen in the song? Because some songs will have a bit of a pause and no music will happen, but then boom, it comes back again. But I think it'll just keep on looping. What a quirky song. I never actually paid attention to it before. Well, it's good to know that that music on the radio is tied to the music track. Hello there, Spectrum. Good morning to you. How's your morning going so far? I'm doing well, thank you, Spectrum. Thank you very much for the 170 stream streak. Thank you. That is awesome. I finished off Alan Wake earlier. It was a relatively short stream. Um, there was two extra DLC episodes that I did, so that was good to get them done. And that's the overall music tribute for that game finished. And this game, um, the main composer for Alan Wake also did the music for this game. So I thought it'd be good to do this playthrough back to back with that one. And this is actually the first time I've done a music tribute playthrough outside of celebrating a game's anniversary. So I thought I'd do it because the sequel to this is coming out this year as well. You going well, Spectrum? You're just waking up. It's going to be a nice spring day. You'll be able to have the windows open. That sounds great, Spectrum, that you're going to have a really good spring day. That's cool. Definitely good to take advantage of things like that when you can. I better wait here. The sign says so. I'm confused though. It doesn't tell us how long to wait. It just says, please wait here. How long? In the oldest house, waiting for 5 seconds could be 5 years on the outside of the building. Imagine working in a location where you turn up to work one day, everything is a certain way, and then you turn up to work the next day and you're just sitting there and you decide to go to the bathroom or something. And then when you come back to your office, everything has changed. The floor is actually now the roof. The carpet that was on the floor is now on the walls. The wall is now the floor, and everything else is upside down. Like, that's an example of what it would be like working in the FBC oldest house building. even though it's not music, the actual hiss chant, I would like to have it play at least once just with the actual words and not with music or um, sound effects as well. So I'll do that at a certain point. I'll have a feel for when would be the best one to do it with because there's a lot of instances, both in just gameplay, but also cutscenes for some of the stuff. So it'll be better to do it when it's not in a cutscene. Spectrum, you showed up to work one day and the place had been rekeyed, so your keys didn't work, and there were signs that it had been closed, by whom you forget, but in reality it was shut down due to back taxes. You never did your last two paychecks? Really? Damn. How long ago was that? Like, is there any way that you can resolve that even after the fact, or? Thank you, Agorki, for redeeming the Remedy Games quote. You'd like me to pick one from one of their games? No worries at all. Definitely can do. Okay, so I've got one. There wasn't enough alcohol in this city to drown the memories of this nightmare, but I damn well try. This case would never be closed. I had more questions now than at the start. The irony of being trapped in a postmodern detective story. I felt watched, the eyes of an unseen audience on me. I wanted to turn to the hidden camera and tell them to fuck off, but I didn't know where to look to break the fourth wall. There would always be another case for Casey, a million stories in this dark city. The night opened up to welcome me. I walked into her arms. Roll credits. Okay, so that is from Alan Wake 2, which is the character of Alex Casey, who was played by James McCaffrey, um, who played Max Payne as well. Unfortunately, James McCaffrey passed away. And Sam Lake, who was the face of Max Payne in the first game, he is the face of Alex Casey in Alan Wake 2. Thank you for redeeming that, Ogorki. Spectrum, this was back in the 90s. Some employees, including yourself, went to court but still never got your money. That is really messed up, Spectrum, that happened like that. It's a real shame, too, as well. That's just crazy. Spectrum, yeah, when you said last two paychecks, that meant a whole month of work. Ugh. Another time he showed up for work, was given a job to work on, then 5 minutes the same guy came back and said he would do that job and took the files away. Long story short, you were no longer needed and left there 10 minutes after you got there. No explanation? This kind of stuff is just utterly ridiculous when that happens, you know? Like, totally unexpected, you just turn up to work thinking it's just going to be like any other day, and then it just takes a really strange turn. That's ridiculous that you weren't able to get that whole month's worth of work to pay for that. Like, that's really messed up. There's another example of how tricky it can be because when you have music that has so many different changes based on attacking the enemy, and you're trying to get as much of the different variations as you can. Meanwhile, you got so many enemies shooting at you at once, and it can be very easy in this game to get overwhelmed and be shot by multiple enemies from different directions quickly enough to get your health down to nothing almost in a matter of seconds. And I've been lucky so far with some of these encounters not to die while actually trying to have all the music variations happen. And so having to use tactics like getting behind cover, also trying to angle it so that the character can aim around a corner essentially without exposing their body to being shot at too much, and trying to juggle all that while also listening to the music to try and determine whether or not that piece has actually been heard in that way yet, or if I need to shoot the enemy one more time quickly enough to make the music tempo change. And that's where like these kinds of playthroughs can become challenge runs in a way. Like you could play through a game with just the music on and just play it like you normally would without waiting for music to finish and loop if you wanted to. Um, it would mean then that you could just play without worrying about, oh, I got to hold off this enemy for another potential minute to let the music play out. You could just do it where the music just plays, and if it ends before it fully plays, then that just so be it, move on. So I'd say that if people are interested in doing a music only playthrough of a game, but they don't necessarily want to spend the time to hang back and wait for the music to stop or to loop, it's probably still worth at least having the music only and then just playing through normally as well. Or even just in bursts, like if there's a game that has mission replay, like just give it a test and play through the mission with just the music on and see how it feels. Um, but yeah, these playthroughs can become a little bit of a challenge run spectrum. Couldn't even collect unemployment as you wasn't technically an employee. You'd been doing contract work there off and on, more on, for 2 years. Shortly before that, the vice president had quit rather abruptly. You guess they were having difficulties. I'll say, like, that's definitely a lot of bad luck, one after the other as well. Like, and that's, like, technically, I understand, you know, that you couldn't collect unemployment because you weren't technically an employee. But at the same time, if you've done at least any amount of work, whether or not you're actually employed fully by them or, it's just on a off and on basis, you'd think that there will still be some kind of like logic that they would use and be like, right, should still be able to get something. Hello there, Zomb. Going well, thank you. I thought I'd do a playthrough for this game with the music tribute outside of doing it as a 10th anniversary or something, because this game doesn't celebrate that until 2029. But the sequel's coming out this year, so I thought that would be a good quote unquote excuse. Not that I really need to have any sort of like special reason to do a music playthrough. I could just pretty much do a music playthrough of whatever game I wanted if I felt like it. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to do this type of playthrough with Control before it celebrates its 10th anniversary, because that's, quite a bit away between now and then. How's things going with you? How's Claire Expedition 33 going? Or Claire Obscure Expedition 33 going? Or E33? Zom, hopefully it comes out this year. If so, you're likely to save a playthrough of the first game for right before getting into the second. That's definitely a good idea as well. That way you can do a back-to-back playthrough. That's what I did with Hellblade 2, actually. I did a replay of Hellblade 1 so that I could time it, that finishing that meant I could just jump straight into the second one. Oh, nice, Spectrum. You just started rewatching the X-Files. Cool. I still remember one of the first episodes I saw of that when I was a kid, which was the one about the guy who could basically get through like the smallest of vents. I really found that to be creepy. Spectrum, is the FBC like the X-Files unit? Kinda, actually, yeah. Yeah, definitely some similarities, because what they do is they research phenomena that is considered to be supernatural, and they send out agents when there's some kind of like potential event that is happening, or if they've heard reports and all that kind of stuff, and they send out people to investigate. They've also got a radio station, and what's the damn name of it? I can't remember the name of it now. Something overnight. Anyway, they've got a radio station that they use as a way to field potential cases, because you get people ringing into that radio station talking about weird stuff that's going on, you know. So the FBC, America Overnight, that's the name of it. America Overnight is the name of the radio station that the FBC uses to field people when they're like, oh yeah, I saw this weird phenomena happening, and then they can go, right, okay, let's send some agents out to test to see if this is actually something, or if it's just, someone having a hallucination or something. Spectrum, that episode is called Squeeze from season one. You saw it last week. Oh, cool. Yeah, like that, seeing that, like that was a freaky episode. Because as a kid, it got me looking at small events like that when I came across them, thinking, "Oh shit." It's one of those series too. It went on for a while. Like I never actually saw any of the movies that they did either. Um, but the last episode of X-Files I watched when it was new was back when Robert Patrick played a character on, was it Doggett? I think that was his name on the show. It would have been one of those episodes. Was the last one I saw when it was a new episode. 11 years and two movies, damn. That's a long time as well. But that's the thing about series, gives you so much time up your sleeve to work out stuff like that. in trying to get the music in full. That's what can happen. Spectrum, yeah, Mulder left the show and was replaced with Doggett and his sidekick lady, can't remember her name. Seasons 10 and 11 were set after 14 years, after season 9. Or were aired. Oh, I gotcha. That's a long time. Enjoy your coffee, Spectrum. Zomb, it's going for sure. In spite of having the plat for E33 already, you find yourself doing everything again, though this time with health bar multipliers to keep you from one-shotting everything that moves, due to how OP'd you are, and what can feel like a photo mode only playthrough due to how much time you use that overall in comparison to other things. That's definitely fair too. When something catches your eye and you want to get a photo mode shot. Excellent, Ogoki, no worries at all. Hope you enjoy your coffee. Alright, this is where I'm going to call it a stream. Before I end though, I'd like to catch up with chat and then give some shout outs. The next stream that you'll see from me will be this again for my Tuesday stream of it. This is my Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday game now, moving forward until it's finished. And then Thursdays through to Sunday is Red Dead Redemption 1 at the moment. The early game on Saturday and Sunday before the Red Dead 2 stream is still Assassin's Creed Origins. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate it, especially doing playthroughs like this, which aren't the norm. But thank you very much for watching. So the crazy part about the photo mode only part is when it comes to going through longer dungeons, dungeons that before photo mode would only take a bunch of hours, but in the case of one you already did this playthrough, due to how much there is to do there and natural size of it along with how much you used photo mode, you spent 3 days on that one dungeon, 3 days. There's definitely a long amount of time as well, and it's good that you stuck with it though. And that's the great thing about doing things like that. If you're really passionate about it and you have the patience, then being able to continue on and get it done, you know. But yeah, that's definitely a lot of intensive stuff to do for 3 days. Thank you, Zomb. I definitely will have a great rest of my day. I hope you have a good one too. That's okay, Ogorki, for the stream. No problem at all. Have a good one. Would like to highly recommend people check out Amita, who's doing Elder Scrolls Online. Crocodiles is doing a playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered. Lucinda has been going through Resident Evil Requiem, and QuickDex has been playing Cyberpunk 2077. So definitely recommend checking out those streamers if you haven't before. That's all good, Dex. No problem at all, dude. I definitely will have a great one. Hope you have a good one too. My Tuesday streams are usually a split stream. Um, I don't know if I'll be doing 2 streams tomorrow though. I might decide to just do one. Maybe. I don't really know. I might take a break of having 2 streams on one Tuesday at least. But we'll see. I might end up doing 2 streams like I normally do on Tuesday, but have to wait and see. Oh yeah, Dex, that's no trouble at all for the shout out as well. That's all good. Thank you, Zomb. You take care as well.